Yo, this is KallaTheYapper, and I'm back with another reaction. Today is Saturday, November 8th. It is 3:41 p.m. and I'm going to be reacting to this video made by Zome. Now, I've seen some of their content before on my own off time, probably a couple months back in relation to Skirk, I believe. But anyway, they made this video saying Genshin needs to stop doing this, never story quest. I'm gonna say this right now, before I even start watching the video. I already got a taste of the video a little bit, like 5 minutes of it. And I disagree with it. I already have my disagreement with it immediately. Because the argument that's being made here is that what tie does Nefer's story quest have to the main plot? I will be explaining it in my reaction, debunking this video. So let's go ahead and get started.
Alright guys, I think we've all finished the Archon quest by now, and I think we can all agree on the fact that this is by far the worst story quest in the entire game.
No, it's not. It's such an exaggeration. Nilou, you could argue, is the worst story quest in the game because it doesn't even focus on her character, it focuses on another character.
It's not even close, bro. Like, this has to be the corniest shit I have ever seen in all of my years of playing Genshin. Now, to make it clear, we're only going to talk...
No, it's not. It's actually very interesting. I don't know how it's corny when it focuses on her character and even has some very unique expressions that we hardly see playable characters have in the game. So, don't know about that one, Chief.
I have ever seen in all of my years of playing Genshin. Now, to make it clear, we're only going to talk about Nefer's story quest in this video and not the Archon quest as a whole. So without wasting any time, let's get right into it and let's talk about why this quest is so bad and what they should have done to make it better. Alright, so first of all, the way this quest starts off is just absolutely terrible. Because before her story quest starts, we are exploring the lore of Khaenri'ah and all this incredibly captivating lore about Rhaenyra and his past, which,
mind you, this was Act 3.
Was absolutely great. I was so immersed into this section of the Archon quest, and then all of a sudden, we get dragged into this fucking desert just to learn some useless nonsense about Nefer that has nothing to do with the actual Archon.
And I'm going to disprove his claim immediately because I thought about my argument last night. And I'm going to find it shocking if he can't even pick up what they were putting down in her story quest.
Quest. But anyway, it starts off by Nefer explaining what is going on and promising to get us out of there. So then we get to the next section of her story quest, and this is where it slowly starts to get really uncomfortable. We visit the place that she used to live in and we get to see some interactions that she used to have with her dad when she was a kid. Her dad tells her that at some point he promises to get them out of the desert so that they can live in a better place with better circumstances. After that, we go to this professor in the academy. She asks this professor a few questions and
he didn't bother mentioning the point how her father died and him trying to get water for his tribe people led to their unfortunate massacre, which also plays a role in Nefer's quest for her viewpoint and outlook on her father and of course the entire situation. But let me continue.
And it turns out Sumeru City is basically racist because they think that everyone who's from the desert is much less intelligent compared to them, which is why Nefer...
And mind you, that information right there, that's not useless information. We've known this information about Sumeru since version 3, right? That whole section of the quest dedicated to learning more about the desert when we ventured out into the desert to learn more truth about Ruka Devada, aka the previous Dendro Archon before Nihida. But now, you know, the whole timeline or the information of what happened in the past, Ruka Devada doesn't exist. So now Nihida was the only Dendro Archon, thanks to manipulation of Irminsul knowledge, right? And we know that there was beef between the people of the desert and people of the forest. That's why that whole giant wood bark looking wall exists. It's a borderland between the desert and the forest. It's done there. It's there on purpose. Now I'm pretty sure Ruka Devada created it, but I think she just created it to keep the sandstorms out of the forest. But yeah, the prejudice between the people of the desert and the forest has always been a thing. The thing is, it just we didn't have an ultra delve deep quest about it, right? There was no entire story quest dedicated to that one theme about Sumeru. we had a brief. Actually, I guess you could argue that we did have a quest dedicated to it. I can't remember which act it was though, but it was right when we left the academia to then go to the desert because Nahida told us to.
Think that everyone who's from the desert is much less intelligent compared to them, which is why Nefer received way easier tasks compared to all the other students. And then we spent like 20 minutes wasting time on doing the exact same thing.
20 minutes? Nigga, why are we lying? Oh my God. I'm sorry. My bad I'm having this outburst, but it's like when I see niggas lie, it pisses me off. Because you're exaggerating what the fuck the actual quest did. This was not 20 minutes. This was 2 minutes at best. The only way it's 20 minutes is if you're sitting there yapping your head off, bitching and complaining what's happening in the quest. This part of the section of the quest, both for Rerir and for Nefer, gave us a immersive first-person view of their thought process as they're going through these documents. For Rerir, as we continue going through those documents for Rerir, guess what? More and more do you hear his voice crack. More and more do you hear him question, man, what sense did it make to body bag this child who was 6 years old? What threat could they possibly have to the Venster King? That was his thought process in the moment. And they keep getting younger and younger and younger. First, they were like 40 years old, and it drops all the way to down when they're 6. This nigga was killing adults who started killing children. And it had a great effect on his psyche. But yeah, he kept pushing through because, he was doing his job. It take a cold-hearted nigga to do this job. Right? And he kept becoming that. More and more did he question, man, whatever, it don't matter. These people didn't really matter to me because I know them. So what? Basically. And then for Nefer, because mind you, this ties into Nefer's personal character that we've seen throughout all of Not Cry before her story quest, which was this section of the quest. Nefer has always been an individual that follows on her policy that she has as the leader of the Curatorium of Secrets, right? She always follows her policies of neutrality and this and the third. She always follows her policies. When she's going through the documents in this moment, not only is she finding out that the House of Dana, which is supposed to hold all these documents, she's finding out that's the system in place. They're not even holding to their policies in the truest sense. How the hell do you have a whole section dedicated for mail and other important documents that's supposed to go out to people, yet there is important documents not being sent out? So that's a failure of the system and the policy already, which, mind you, Nefer doesn't do. She doesn't do failure of policy. She follows through on her policies. This is a big thing about her character, about her business, right? Then, of course, when she finds out about the policy of, letting the desert children come and learn, and then she finds out, they're being handicapped. They're not actually being given this same opportunity of knowledge as the children of the forest are. So then there's a question of the hypocrisy of the great sage who ran Azar at the time and his policy of even putting this in place, because it looks good on paper, right? But the actual implementation of it is lackluster, to the point that you even have someone in the academia of noteworthy status sit here and question it and wanted this letter to go out to Grand Azar and question him on it. Guess what? It never went out to him. You know why? Because guess what? These documents have just been sitting here collecting dust, and no one's been doing their job to send this stuff out. AKA, again, failure of the system.
We already did with Rerir, except that this time we only get to learn about some boring NPC lore that no one cares about.
No one cares about, says who? People love learning more and more information about the desert. Sumeru's desert lore has got to be some of the most fascinating thing that people love to learn. On some real shit. People love learning this shit. Anything related to King Deshret and all of them, they love it. And that's directly tied to Nefer.
The only important part about this section is when she finds the letter of her dad and finds out that he apparently lied to her about everything, which he didn't even do. We can literally see in that letter.
He did lie in the sense of he didn't follow through with his promise, right? That's how she viewed it at the time. Because mind you, this was when she was younger. He said, we're going to have these things. We're going to have these things. All these promises, but yet none of these promises followed through. And it's not really because of the action of the father why the promises didn't follow through. It's because her father was believed that he had connections to someone that could help him reach that promise that he was making. But unfortunately for him, it was never going to happen. So that's why she perceived him as a liar, which is why at the end of the Archon quest, she reevaluates her father and she takes back calling him a liar. What he was a fool. That's for sure. He was foolish in thinking that the people of the academia was going to take him seriously because he helped him out that one time and thought, oh, because of the culture and traditions of his people, he took it as, oh, well, this makes us friends now. That was a foolish part. That was foolishness on his part. That's why she calls him foolish. Him being a liar, she took back that claim at the end of the quest. That's if you're paying attention to the story, though.
To her about everything, which he didn't even do. We can literally see in that letter that he was desperate and he tried his best to help his tribe and his daughter. But just because they fooled him and her dad wasn't as intelligent as her, she gets mad at him and starts acting like her dad is some kind of supervillain.
No, that's not what happened. Oh my god, why are we fucking lying? She did not act like her father was a supervillain. She viewed her father as foolish and a liar because that's how she perceived it at the time. Again, like I said, she took back claiming that he was a liar. But that man was indeed foolish into thinking that his interaction with one person from the academia, helping him wander out of a sandstorm, was enough to be like, oh, I have connection to this person. This person gonna get it to me. And mind you, this goes back to that whole scene of her going through the mail. Guess what? Again, goes back to the system. He thought, oh, shit was going to be sweet and dandy, unbeknownst to him that he does not know how the system of the academia work. And he didn't know that, guess what? Whoever runs the House of Dana not doing their fucking job, which, of course, led to the fact of him having to go steal water from another tribe, which then got him and his people killed. So, it's a chain of, it's a, what you call this word I'm looking for? I can't call it a chain attack. That's not what I'm trying to say. That's a Zenless term. But it's a cause and effect type shit that, again, he was unaware of. And because of that, since he didn't know that, and unfortunately led to this outcome. We, as the players, get a third-person view because we know that if somebody was following through with their damn job and the policies or whatever, guess what? Not only would the children of the desert be given the opportunity of information at the same exact level as the children of the forest, but also somebody in that fucking mailroom would have sent that mail out to the individual it was supposed to go to. Again, these things directly tied to Nefer as a character. Hold up, let me see. What's the next section of the story? Next section of the story of this is how Genshin turned Nefer. Okay, I don't know what point that is. The worst cutscene. Claiming that this is the worst cutscene is by far retarded. What? That is so. That's retarded. Anyway, oh my god, this must be rage bait. This has to be rage bait. I can't take this serious. Anyway, let's continue.
And even though he literally tried to help them,
You liar. You lied.
What's so crazy is he's taking this out of context, talking about something. This is how she felt now in the current day. This was never in the past. Again, he does not mention what happened at the end of the quest. This is why I take videos like this so serious and have this type of reaction, is because when you're blatantly lying, guess what? People in this comment section, they eat it up. Nobody actually thinks back to the quest and what happened in it because they're not willing to. And also because you can't really replay quests in Genshin Impact, so that's another factor, right? But as someone who streams the game and my playthrough of it, I pay attention to every bit of information that is given. So that's why I'm having this hard pushback on what he's saying in his video.
Lied about everything. And who fell for it? Just me, by the looks of it. Which makes you a pathetic liar. You weren't even any good at it. I think I'll take
Which was true. I don't know why we are having like joke memes inserted. No, it was true. He was a terrible liar. Homeboy couldn't lie to save his life. Nefer turned out to be a better liar, and guess what happened? She ended up in a successful position that her father could never. And she even mentions it at the end of the quest. If only he was a better liar, he would have made it. Which is why you have that whole section of the story quest where Nefer tricks both tribes into Xing each other out. because she's such a skilled liar. And what's another thing that was so interesting about that moment is that they took every word that she said serious, because guess what? They used her character design to show off and flex. Oh, well, I am clearly from the academia. Do you not see how gorgeous these clothes are? Clearly, I'm not from the desert. So you have to take what I say serious. And guess what? The people of the desert, of course, they're going to take it serious because she's dressed fancy. The people of the desert don't dress fancy. They don't. The majority of them are in rags and rags. They're not in riches. AKA, that shows the social status, class status, the wealth, the money on you get the point. And they use it as a point to even further help her be able to push her lie that, again, succeeds.
Take over from here. Let me show you how it's done.
And everything that happens after that is some of the biggest cornball Reddit Discord mod behavior I have ever seen. After never
Getting it back in blood is cornball behavior. Oh, wow. Could you imagine having your people X'd out over some fucking water and you decide, you know what, let me spin the block on these niggas and get them to X each other out? Yeah, that's Reddit cornball behavior. Okay. I would love to use some, real life examples, which, you know what, I am. Case in point. Of course, as a black American myself, right, and descendant of slaves. So guess what? If not me, not in the current day right now, but let's say about 200 years ago, any black child born into the world, probably like right after slavery has been ended or whatever, and they feel this rage in their heart to spin the block on any white American, especially in the South, for their racism and their enslavement of their people, would they not be justified in spinning that block? What about the Jews having to go through the Holocaust? Would they not be justified in spinning the block on Hitler if Hitler didn't, act like a bitch and kill himself? Right? Would they not be justified? There's a lot of things that people can be justified in spinning the block on. Let's be for real. Especially when it's the mass execution of your own peoples. So I don't know how we're going to sit and act like this is not valid. I guess we must not know how humans act. That's the only reason why you make such a claim.
biggest cornball Reddit Discord mod behavior I have
And of course, when
ever
you have,
seen.
these jokey, corny memes in here, of course the audience is going to eat that up and they're going to just take it and not actually provide any pushback. Which I think I did see a little pushback in the comment section. I might scroll down and check it at the end of this, but let's continue.
After Nefer finds out that her dad is a pathetic liar, which he clearly is not, she decides to show...
Well, he is a liar if he can't even fulfill his promise, is he not? You don't make promises you don't keep, aka that makes you a liar. That's what happens. Let's say this: if you made a promise to somebody that you were going to be there for their wedding, but then you don't appear for their wedding and you never informed them for the reason why you couldn't make it, especially when you promised and gave your word about it, yeah, the person will be understanding, but of course they're gonna be thinking, man, bro, you ain't have to lie about this. Well, hold up. Let's say you never informed them of it. Then they're gonna be like, bro, you said you was gonna come. What happened? And you're like, oh yeah, I forgot. Like, bro, you ain't have to lie to me about the fact that you couldn't make it. If you didn't have time to make it, you should have just told me that, right? That's the reaction you get. So of course, you're not saying blatantly that they're a liar, but you are insinuating it.
Show him how it's done. When we leave the building, she gets stopped by a woman who's clearly worried about Nefer and thinks of her as a friend. And for absolutely no reason, Nefer lies to her about the value of the incense and says this.
Don't forget me, okay? I mean, we're more than just classmates, right? We're friends.
Yeah, I'll remember you.
And she lied in this moment. And mind you, this was the past. This is not the current day.
Lied again. That incense is worth a fortune.
And this, again, was showing how much of a better liar that she was in comparison to her father, who couldn't lie to save his life. Now, mind you, again, we need to keep mentioning that because her father is dead because he couldn't be a good liar. He made promises he couldn't keep. And of course, unfortunately, it led to his death. Of course, the other factors I mentioned earlier. Now, I think in my playthrough of this, I made a interesting point. Hold on, let's see if I can... Man, I hope I can bring it up. Give me a second. Let me, because I don't want to lose this. Let's give me a second. Let me go back to here. Don't worry about what you see on my timeline. That ain't none of your business. Okay, yeah, hold up.
Yo, what's up? I'm KallaTheYapper.
Shut up.
And I'm
Let's see if I can find this scene, because I really enjoyed this moment in the story. Hold up. Was it this one? Yeah, here we go. Let me see. Okay, let's go to the point where she was lying, saying that she wouldn't remember. Because I remember there was a point early in the story about how you would forget people. Oh, right. Yeah, Rerir had a whole moment where he would forget people that he had no direct connection to. Hold up.
What's wrong? I thought you liked incense. Although, I did read somewhere in the House of Dana that it has hallucinogenic effects. Don't use it all at once, alright?
Isn't this the stuff you brought from your hometown? You're just letting me have it? But you said it's a rare and valuable commodity.
Yeah, about that. I lied. It's not rare at all. There's this bunch of ruins near my hometown that are practically overgrown with this plant. It's not worth much. Keep it. It's fine.
But never...
Alright, that's all from me. You take care.
Give it a second.
Don't forget me, okay? I mean, we're more than just classmates, right? We're friends.
Yeah, I'll remember you.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to be so sad if it turns out that she completely forgot about that girl as time went on. Essentially, she became no better than the academia in that aspect, right?
I lied again. That incense is worth a fortune.
I think I said that in relation to the newsletters or the House of Dana and the letters not being sent out because they just been forgotten and just left there to collect dust.
And it's
Hold on, let me see if I said anything else.
Those ruins. And as for remembering her, I have far too much to do when I get back. No time to reminisce.
Oh
I'll be
man.
lucky if I even make it through this alive. But either way, I expect I'll forget you pretty quickly.
And her fit of rage against her father and against the situation, she ended up doing the same things that the very situation her father and even at the academia did. Ain't it so crazy? It is kind of crazy because now she's in the position that her dad essentially was in, but she has way better power and leverage in comparison, right? Because she makes sure her people safe. She makes sure what she got is, still making his money on and is well protected. So it's like, man, she did reach the place that her father didn't, or her father attempted to. Oh, another thing too. The whole forgetting her part or being forgotten part. Yeah, her father, the man that he met, that he quote unquote said that they were friends now after that whole interaction with the sandstorm. He thought that it was a long-lasting connection that would last forever, but of course he was clearly forgotten about because the House of Dana not sending out the mail to where they're supposed to be sent out to. So he was forgotten about. Right, and even like those the papers that was supposed to be sent out, that was also forgotten about too. Just lost in history, just collecting dust. Hold up, what else did I say? Did I say anything else? I'm sure I said. Man, this is so sad. No, loading screen. Ah, the white light. Excuse me. She does something. Oh man, Nefer, what you done, dude? Hold up, what? I think there was more for me to say. Hold up, let me go back.
Let me show you how it's done.
I'm not gonna lie. If she ever had a chance to see her father again, some ghostly spirit of him, I'm not gonna lie. Would she still talk to that man crazy like this? Like, I understand right now she is furious. I get it, baby girl. Don't get it twisted. You're gorgeous. I understand you're furious. It's painted all over your face. But I think it's a little crazy to sit here and just like act like your dad was this waste of space and type nigga who was pathetic. I don't know about all that. He tried his best, damn it. Y'all niggas were living in the desert. That man was fighting tooth and nail for you, baby girl. Everything he did, it was for you. I hope you understand that and see that. Oh dang, my show is. And I think, of course, she does at the end of the quest. Wait, I'm pretty sure I have more to say. Do I have? Because like I kept stopping and talking, learning all this bits and pieces of information that we kept learning about. Let me see. Patting down the freaking suspect that they arrested. Oh, hold up. My bad. I was talking about something else. That ain't nothing related. It is related to what I was talking about.
You would be my ally in the academia. I would like to take you up on that offer, because I really need you. You mentioned that about my daughter, Nefer. We have next to no resources here in the desert, and my daughter at the academia. She is a smart girl. I know she won't disappoint you.
And I'm gonna say this right now. This just goes back to Nefer's whole thing about following policy, right? Because it's like the fact that somebody this is a case of negligence on the side of the academia. They have a whole department dedicated for male. Okay. So I guess we put my point. But anyway, let's get back to this. Hold up. Let me rewind. Get back to this. Cause I know I'm taking too long for this reaction. But
Mates, right? We're friends.
Yeah, I'll remember you. I lied again. That incense is worth a fortune, and it's a rare find even in those ruins.
And of course she lied because one, why in the hell would she give up something that could get her money on? That money. She need that. It's a valuable research. She's not just gonna give it up to someone just because. Mind you, at this point in time, Nefer clearly didn't have no friends. She ain't had no personal connections like that. After she done lost everything, she didn't have any personal connections to people. Even this person that she, right here, may have thought that she and Nefer were friends, but Nefer clearly never viewed her as her friend. Clearly.
And as for remembering her, I have far too much to do when I get back.
And of course, this whole not remembering thing ties to Rerir, because as time went on, Rerir forgot the names and faces of all them children and all them people he was killing in the name of the Venser King.
No time to reminisce. I'll be lucky if I even make it through this alive. But either way, I expect I'll forget you pretty quickly.
But I feel like some of us should be slaves again.
I'm sorry, but the way Nefer is acting there is so unnatural and so cringe, it just makes her look
unnatural and cringe. Did we not just go through her quest of how she lost her family? She just find out and discovered how the academia is moving when it comes down to their policies and negligence of doing what they're supposed to be doing. And on top of that, again, we don't dive deep into her friendship, but it's clear as day with this interaction that Nefer never viewed that girl as her friend on some real shit. Her thought process has only been on me, because why not? She's out here in the world by herself. Now you can say and be like, well, she clearly has someone she could rely on. Guess what? That's not her thought process in that moment. Why would somebody sit here and be like, anyone in Nefer's position be like, oh, let me make friends with this individual? No, her thought process on, let me make sure I'm good. Because again, Nefer comes from a place of poverty, not having the best. So why in the hell would she not think about making sure that she's good first before like making so-called friends? Which is why at the end of the Archon Quest for Act 4, we even make a statement to it, be like, I guess you're starting to view Yehoda, Llama, and all the rest of the group as your friends now, right? Of course, she does some sly comeback of commentary being like, no, not really, but we know that she BSing.
her look like an absolute cornball. Bro, this reminds me of these people in college who always be acting like they're Ayano Koji or something. And the worst part about this is, it just keeps getting worse with each dialogue. Because after we leave the building, we go back to the desert where we stumble upon a group of fighters from a different tribe and decide to make a deal with them. But of course, you guessed it, she lied once again and had to say the cringiest line I have ever heard.
Wow. All it took was a few words and I've got him wrapped around my finger. What an amazing feeling.
Dude, she's acting like a 5-year-old kid who just realized you can lie to people instead of just telling the truth. And then
No, that is not what that moment was. It was to show us how intoxicating lying can be, and of course, how she would use it further in her life. Because you start to get addicted to it, especially if you keep doing it over and over again. You're gonna make it into second nature to you, whether it be drugs or playing video games or what have you. Doing a certain action over and over again, mind you, Nefer never had power or influence ever in her life up until this moment. In this moment, she got to know how it felt to have power and influence and use it to make people dance how she wants. And guess what? She found it amazing. She found it joyous. Does that not speak to a character trait that she has? That, mind you, she does have. Because, mind you, this even goes back to her relationship with Yehuda, right? She has a whole policy dedicated to having her employees do things for her that she's too lazy to do, which, aka, make them dance how she wants to. If she's too lazy to go get herself a drink, she'll go get Yehuda to do it. How many times have we seen Yehuda go do something that Nefer command her to do that, Nefer could just do by herself? A lot of things. Right? But of course, she values Yehuda because of the fact that Yehuda is so obedient and serving, right? She even makes a statement about it at the beginning of her entire story quest, before we even press forward to even learn more about Nefer. She blatantly says, God forbid anything happens to you, because she enjoys telling that girl what to do.
And then, like, not even 5 seconds later, she says this.
You see, Dad? Lying is easy when you know how. People will believe anything.
Again, he's cutting out how, one, they used her character design. Actually, he's cutting out the entire situation about the desert as a whole to make this video, to make this point. Are we not going to sit here and mention, again, how there was always beef between the people of the forest and the desert because of what they had and what they didn't have? Right? And it played a role in it. Even in the Archon quest, at the end of it, there's a whole section where Nahida like, oh, we're going to provide support to the people of our village and people of the desert because they have been left in the dust for too long. They've been left in the dust for 500 years, ever since Ruka Devada till now. And of course, we can't let that keep happening. We got to change things for the better, because that's what Nahida wanted to do. Again, this is before Nahida gets back into power, or gets into power that she's supposed to have had 500 years ago. Again, the way he's framing this, it completely strips the timeline of these factors to paint this in this way. And it's dishonest.
Oh my god!
I don't get why she's constantly so mad at her dad when all he did was literally provide for her and
Provide? The nigga couldn't provide shit, which is why he had to go steal water.
and give her hope, while genuinely
His hope didn't mean shit if nothing came of it.
trying to save his people at the same time. Like, what else?
Trying and failing spectacularly, which led to the death of her entire tribe except her, leaving her alone in the world. Again, why are we missing these points? Why are we acting like these things didn't happen? I can understand that we live in this time of area where people are like, man, men ain't shit, this and the third, but I think it's really ignorant to sit here and ignore the shit that, of course, he failed to do. Yes, you can sit here and say, oh, he tried to give her hope. Well, guess what? The hope don't mean something if you don't bring anything out of that. You can give a child hope all you want to, but if you don't bring anything out of that hope, it means nothing. Your words mean nothing. You can sit here and tell a child all you want to, oh, everything will be all right. Well, guess what? If you don't put forth the effort to try and make it all right, it won't do anything. It won't mean nothing. Why are we acting like this isn't a thing in real life?
What else is he supposed to do? Her dad did the best possible thing he could have done in his situation, and even if not, he still tried his best. Yet somehow, she fails to understand that,
Yeah, because this was in the past. Oh my God, are you getting it now? Oh my goodness gracious. She fails to understand that in the moment where we're in the flashback of her past. Yeah, no shit, she doesn't. Oh my God. Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you for saying that, because that's so freaking obvious that she doesn't grasp that until the end of her character story quest and at the end of the Archon quest, where she reevaluates her view of her father. Yes, she still views him as foolish for the actions he took, because they were foolish, because guess what? He sat here and thought, oh, because I saved this one person from the academia meant I had deep connections. No, it didn't, because mind you, he was never part of the academia. If he actually put forth the effort to actually move his child to the academia and to the forest, maybe there would have been a better place for him, a better position for him to get better for his daughter. But he didn't do that. He just sat there in his tribe writing a letter saying, please come help me, instead of being like, okay, let me go out there to go move my tribe and my people there. That's what he could have done. That's what he should have done, but chose not to. Mind you, they even tell us that the people that Nefer is from, the group of people that Nefer is from, are followers of the goddess of flowers, who was a friend of the Dendro Archon. So more than likely, if he moved his people to the forest, more than likely they would have been accepting of them, in comparison to followers of the Scarlet King, King Deshret. Because the Scarlet King, King Deshret, he was the one who brought an end to their desert civilization, which is the reason why it's crumbled to what it is now, where they're all living in poverty and barely have any homes or resources in the first place. So it's like, he could have made a better decision, but he didn't really make the best decisions. He tried to, but he failed to. Again, led to his death. If he had never stolen that water that his people really need, his people wouldn't have been dead. At least not that day. But he was hasty. He was desperate. He let his desperation lead him around instead of thinking calmly and collectively. So yes, he made a foolish mistake, which then led to his death. So yes, he was foolish.
Even though she constantly portrays herself as a genius who understands everything and everyone perfectly. And I'm saying this as someone who pulled...
She clearly does if she managed to manipulate two groups of people into killing each other off. You have to be pretty smart to get that done. And why are we not introducing the conversation that had, right? Again, they used her character design. She even points out her clothing to be, look how fancy this is. Because guess what? The people of the desert and the people of the forest live different lives. The people of the desert view the people of the forest as being, privileged. Another thing that was mentioned as well in the quest that I found very interesting was that they mentioned how Nefer, she was born in the desert, but she has a fair skin tone. And one of the academia's people noticed that and was like, that's interesting. I didn't expect that, right? It was the first time ever that they ever mentioned skin tone ever in the game. It was shocking. At least to me it was. So there's a factor of that as well. So not only does she have fair skin, but she has a clothing style that is clearly not from the desert and is clearly from the rainforest. In particular, the academia, they viewed her as someone privileged, with power, with influence. And especially when she said that she was from the academia, why would they suspect that she's lying? When she's checking all the boxes off from their point of view of people from the academia and the rainforest. She's checking all their boxes off by default. If she came there in rags, talking like someone, oh, I'm from the academia, do you think they would believe her? The answer is no, they wouldn't.
Pulled for her and her weapon. Don't get me wrong, I really like intimidating and evil characters, but she's not intimidating and she's not evil either.
Because that's not the point of her character. She's not supposed to be intimidating or evil. Well, she is intimidating to Yehoda, because that shows us her relationship with Yehoda, right? But in terms of just being like evil or whatever, no, that's not her. That's not how she's supposed to be. They never even portrayed her as that in comparison to Arlecchino. Arlecchino is supposed to be that intimidating and evil, which is questionable of her being evil, air quote.
Either. She's just acting like an annoying Discord mod that nobody likes.
No, she's not. She's acting like a real person in this situation. Because again, you can say this all you want about the character, but like if you were put in the same position, would you not do the same shit as her?
To prove this even further, let me show you guys the cutscene that we've all been waiting for.
So this is a bad cutscene because she got her vengeance that she wanted. Are we serious? Oh my lord. This can't be for real. Which is in a similar vein Oh, actually, I should have said this earlier. The core theme that connects Nefer's story quest to Rerir, and of course the plot that's going on with Notcry, is this: knowing too much. That's the core theme of Nefer's story, and not just Nefer's story, but the entire Archon quest of Acts 3 and 4, related to Rerir, the Visionary, aka Dainsleif's big bro, Thelindis, and Nefer, and of course the Venser King as well, I think, right? All these characters have a core theme in common with each other, which is knowing too much, and the price that is paid for knowing too much. For Rerir, the Visionary, guess what? When Rerir kept asking the Visionary about stuff about the future, he was like, I'll tell you, but I'm not going to tell you in depth. And he was like, bro, I advise you to not marry Thelindis and seek out a different partner for the betterment of your happiness that you seek, right? Guess what? He knew of this knowledge, right? But he didn't want to take the advice. And guess what unfortunately happened? It came with a tragedy because he was unwilling to accept the knowledge that he was given too much of. That, again, the Visionary, Vedafónir, did not want to give out to him. Who else? Thelindis. When Thelindis learned about the fact that Rerir was actually being an executor, going out killing members of her family bloodline, guess what? What was the price for that? Of course, unfortunately, it was like breaking of their relationship, her helping the Crimson Moon dynasty because she didn't want them to be killed off, which put her in a compromising position. And then, of course, learning about the Moon Marrow and whatever else secrets that she's learned, which then opened that portal, and then doom, she's gone. And then for Rerir, there's more tragedy on top of that, which is he had to kill his wife as well, because his wife, or his soon-to-be wife, was on that chopping block. And of course, for knowing too much knowledge and information related to this, knowing that a tragedy would befall him and his love life, he was willing to accept it or even kill her off, which then, of course, leads to him running, being like, okay, I'm gonna go stop the Venser King. It's enough of this. And joins Dainsleif, so on and so forth. Now, for the Visionary, Vedafónir, him knowing too much resulted in his eyes being cut out by the Venser King, because the Venser King didn't want to hear nothing about, because since he was so deep in his madness, guess what? He was unwilling to listen to reason, because the Vedafónir, the Visionary, again, told him that he needed to stop going down this path. Of course, the punishment for the Visionary, lost his eyesight. Now for Nefer, the knowledge of her knowing too much led her down a path of vengeance. And guess what? She succeeded in getting her vengeance. And it kind of blackened her heart a little bit because of it. Right? That was the price being paid for knowing too much. That is the core theme that ties all those characters together and their story.
Look at yourselves. They're just ordinary, petty human beings. What a joke. I think we're even now.
You know what this reminds me of?
Clock strikes 12. Midnight arrives. Cock your...
I don't know what he's referring to because I don't dive on the internet like that. So, and this is on TikTok, something I don't use because I think TikTok is a net negative to people, and I advise people to stop using it.
Guns and sharpen your knives.
You cannot convince me that they actually put this into the game.
Again, what is the issue with this? Especially knowing the context of her entire story. Why are we sitting here acting like this was not a valid crash out? This is a most definite valid crash out. Again, why are we acting like this is not valid?
Bro, I was laughing so hard when I saw this.
I mean, cool that you were laughing about it. That's whatever. But like the story that's being told is pretty straightforward for us to understand.
I can't believe they actually put this into the game. There is...
Also, didn't Rerir have a similar moment? Didn't Wanderer have a similar moment as well? For their valid crash outs for knowing too much? Especially Wanderer. When Wanderer learned more truth about what happened with him and the Torre and I I forgot the name of Kazuha's ancestor. Niwa, I think that was his name, right? When he found out the truth about that situation, that nigga started crashing out too. He had the glitches on the screen. He was bugging. He was laughing. He was angry. Like, why are we acting like these are not valid crash outs?
No reason for her to be doing all that. We get it, Nefer. You're upset because your dad is not as perfect and emotionless as you are.
No, that's not why she's upset. She's upset because he didn't fulfill his promises, and now she's in the position that she's in. She's upset about how foolish her father was, and not only that, she's not just upset with foolish her father was, she's upset about the system as a whole that was going on. That, of course, played more into why she views her father the way that she does. These are not invalid views that she has of her father. These are 100% valid views that she has of her father.
But there is no need for you to crash out like that, alright?
Most definitely, yes the fuck it is. Nigga, what? Bro, I promise you on everything, if I was put in a similar position, I would have done the same shit. Difference is, I don't think I would be playing this lying game. I would spin the block on them personally and X them out myself.
I promise you, it's not that deep. We had characters.
Not that deep. Oh my god. Not that deep, as I see all my people get X'd out because they wanted some water. Not that deep when you see... Okay, what's another example? The cap... Hey, I'm so glad he bring in the wanderer point. This is just as a valid crash out as well. Oh my god. I can't... Is he about to say this is an invalid crash out? Hold up.
For you to crash out like that, alright?
Wait, let's see.
I promise you, it's not that deep. We had characters in Genshin with a far more disturbing past than hers, and even they didn't act like that.
They didn't act like that. First of all, in this moment, he felt hollow and shallow. And actually, yes, the fuck Wanderer did. After this moment, Homeboy is going on his crash out arc. True demon time. After this moment here, this nigga joins the Vatui. He spun the block on the Raiden Gokuden. I believe that's what they were called. The 7 schools of like craftsmanship or art sword style or whatever crap. And he freaking destroyed them. Because, one, I'm pretty sure Niwa was tied to that whole group, and his family bloodline was tied to it. He fucking smoked out that whole group, one by one. He even killed off people and left Niwa's descendant or whatever to hold true on to these words that he was gonna come back one day and finish the rest of them out or some shit. He even altered the design for how to craft swords, to the point that the family that Kazuha is a part of completely lost their power and influence because they were forging the sword incorrectly because this dude right here went on his crash out arc and freaking effed it up for them. What are we talking about?
Anyway, thankfully, however, Laoma decides to wake Nefer up from her delusions, and then we finally get to the actual cutscene that really matters.
She didn't wake her up from her delusion. That's not what happened. The scene ended because all of them were watching it. Mind you, Nefer is a character who keeps her personal information and personal life close to her chest. She doesn't give out that type of information for free. She's a very secretive individual. And another thing that he's not mentioning as well, which is very interesting, is that this whole story quest, this whole information about Nefer is revealed to us because Rerir was learning about this information. He was using her chest box that she used to learn information about Rerir. He did it and he was like, oh, let me hack into this and I'm going to learn about you. And guess what? I'm going to find you and kill you. Guess what? That's exactly what he did. So if you want to know another reason for why we're learning this information, one, the core theme of knowing too much ties directly in Acts 3 and 4 related to these characters that I listed earlier, and two, because Rerir was using the very thing that they were using on him to learn more information about her, because, you know, they're both a part of groups that, or did work that resulted in like intelligence gathering of information. So Rerir used it to then hunt down Nefer to then try to X her out.
Nefer up from her delusions, and then we finally get to the actual cutscene that really matters.
It's almost over.
The entire damn thing mattered. I don't know why people bitching about that.
Rerir decides to cosplay as her cat, grabs Nefer by her throat, and before he manages to do anything, Dainsleif shows up and all of them managed to escape.
He doesn't mention how Columbina is the reason why they teleport out of there, and on top of that, he doesn't mention how Nefer locked that nigga in the box. Dainsleif did one thing, which is put a gap of space in between both Nefer, the Traveler, and the group. That's all he did. He didn't save them. He pushed a gap away between them. If you want to say who saved them, is really Columbina for teleporting them out of there. But, you know, it was a group effort, so, you know, and she, of course, locked that nigga in that box.
Okay, now that we got her story quest out of the way, the question is, why exactly is this the worst story quest in Genshin? We already talked about how corny this quest is, but that
Your criticism about how corny the quest was so fucking off. I'm not gonna lie, I expect better, especially for this. And you know, and now before I'm gonna say this too as a criticism for this video and how it's structured. This video and how it's structured completely leans towards pushing your narrative of, oh, it was bad. You don't actually break down bit by bit in enough detail to truly understand the story quest and then even understand the theming of the story quest. So already your criticism to me was off base. For example, hold up, I got someone on this whole list of my videos to react to that could have done a better job at this. Hold up, where they at? I put that consecrator on my list somewhere. Give me a second, let me scroll. Where is she at? Because she does such a wonderful job. Oh, Sorrow Norris is her name. That's one of them. And there's another consecrator. Where's she at? Where's she at? I'm gonna find it in just a second. Just let me. Hopefully I don't click on this shit and send me to a video. No, not that one. Not that one. Nope. Come on, she's somewhere on my list. She does such good content, especially story-related content, which is why I would take any criticism she gives more seriously than this. Because this is just a joke video at this point. All these joke insert memes, this, that, and the third. And it's like, bro, can we not focus on what the fuck we're supposed to be focusing on here? I understand you want to make it jokes, but if we're talking about a criticism of writing and literature and all that stuff, I expect it to be focused on that and not these corny jokes. Hold up, where is she? Damn. For the life of me, I can't find this woman on my fucking playlist of videos to react to. But anyway, let's continue.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad quest, so what exactly is it? Well, there's a lot of different factors that goes into this, so we're only going to talk about the most important ones. First, the fun factor. This quest is not fun in any way whatsoever.
I disagree.
The entire quest consisted of nothing but dialogues. There was not a single comet encounter or puzzle or anything. And on top of that, we also had to do this right after finishing the previous part of the Archon quest, which means that after like hours—
That was Act 3, mind you. I don't know why niggas played Act 3 and 4 together in one go. You do know you can just play Act 3 by itself, leave it alone, then go pick up Act 4.
This right
People talk about Act 3 and Act 4 as if it's one act as a whole and say, oh man, it was hours on end.
After finishing the previous part of the Archon quest, which means that after like hours of already playing the Archon quest, we're getting locked into another quest that we have to finish in order for us to progress.
Sounds like you just want a skip button, which is fine. I mean, I'm not opposed to a skip button.
You can say whatever you want, but this quest should have been a completely separate thing. I don't get why—
No, the fact that you don't get and understand the theme and what ties Nefer's story quest and her personal character to Arir, to Thalindis, to the Visionary, and these characters, and the core theme that they kept pushing. Even Arir says it about knowing too much. He says it twice. Both when he pulls up on her in her mindscape when we're learning her memories, and a second time when we're fighting in the boss fight. So it's clear as day the core theme of knowing too much has a price to pay from it. And guess what? We saw it multiple times, from Arir to Thalindis to fucking the Visionary to Nefer. So I don't understand how you missed that.
why they have to force us to play this just so we can continue the Archon quest. I'm playing the Archon quest to learn about Rerir and not about Nefer's past. If I wanted to learn something about—
It was more than just learning about Nefer's past. It was learning about the theme that tied these characters together. It's like, oh my god. This is how you know when you niggas don't pay attention at all, and then they want to sit and say, "Oh, I did." No, you didn't. Because if you did, you would know the theme that tied these characters together. You can have a character story quest reveal information about them in the midst of the main Archon quest, which again, this whole moment sparked off because Rear did it. Not because it happened out of nowhere, not because it just bang, bang, boom, it just happened just because. No, it's because Rear did it. So that he can learn information about her. I mean, guess what? That nigga was watching in the background, just watching all this information, and waited for the right time and place to sneak up on her, thinking it was all safe and dandy, to then try to choke her out and then try to X her out. Oh, my lord.
About Nefer, I would have chose to play her story quest and not the Archon quest. This part of the Archon quest is not connected to the lore in any way. And that aside,
because it's connected to the theme, not the lore. That's why.
If it was a separate quest, they could have done so much more, and they could have been so much more creative with this. They could have done a story quest about her connection to Lauma, or how she became a businesswoman. Like, all the...
If anything, the implication and information we learned about her does give us enough to speculate, okay, this is why she runs her business the way that she does. XYZ. Because she came out from nothing, she came out from the gutter, and this is how she moved about to rise up from the gutter to get her little special little sanctuary that she has, which is the Curatorium of Secrets.
All these different things.
So easy to interpret, so easy to draw a line of connection to, and apparently we lack the ability to do that.
But for some reason, they just had to combine it with the Archon quest. So in terms of how engaging this quest was, we'll give it a 0. But now,
I'm gonna give my engagement. I was locked in all the way. I was interested to learn what theme and what connection that paralleled Nefer's story quest to the main plot, and I figured it out immediately. Don't know how niggas didn't figure that out. I guess some of us did not pass English.
Now let's talk more about Nefer as a character, because this one is really important. I said it before and I'll say it again. I feel like Hoyoverse was trying way too hard to make her look like something she's not. If their goal was to get people to like Nefer more as a character, they failed. If anything, people who previously liked her probably like her less now compared to how much they liked her before. And that also applies to me.
Because of what reason? Please elaborate.
I'll be honest, I'll admit it. I really liked Nefer before I played this quest, and I still like her, but I like her way less now than I did before.
Her quest gets us to understand why she moves the way that she moves, why she acts the way that she acts. That's the whole point of the quest, and I don't understand how you don't get that. Her using lies and manipulation such as that, or even like scare tactics or whatever. Or just how she just conducts herself in conversation. Like, she won't do anything if it doesn't benefit her. What we saw from her story quest, the actions she did benefited her. Her getting revenge, that benefited nobody but herself. Her keeping that flower that was rare, guess what? She kept it to herself. It benefited her having that so that she can have money, so that she can have power and influence. It benefited her. That was the whole point of those things. Again, I don't understand how we're not connecting those dots, especially about her personal character, right? And she does, and everything she does, it benefits her. For example, when she fired Yehoda so that no one could retaliate against the Curatorium or whatever freak of secrets, right? Which is supposed to be a neutral party. Guess what? Nefer figured the best option is to fire Yehoda so that no one can sit here and trace it back to me to say that I'm not being neutral and bring retaliation towards me, because I don't want that. So I need to figure out the best route for me and what I got going on here, because I can't have niggas disturbing my business.
If they had introduced her as an ultimate liar and like psychopath from the very beginning, it would have made sense. But she was introduced to us as a businesswoman who likes to be her own boss, not some like anime villain who's
That's not how they portrayed her. Again, this is lying. Again, this is not telling the truth of what this is. Again, this was happened in the past. This is a past action. This did not portray her as a villain. This portrayed her as a victim of her circumstance. And of course, a little bit of darkening happening in her heart related to it because this is how she felt in the moment. Because again, she just got it back in blood. Again, how is that hard to understand?
Path from the very beginning, it would have made sense.
And knowing that she's not a psychopath, having this crash out moment where she's looking at all these people in disgust because they were fighting over water. Maybe if you provided the full, cutscene of her crash out and then dissected it, I'd take your word serious. But I can't because I know you were bullshitting throughout this whole video. Oh my lord. And before somebody hit me with some, oh, you're a Hoyo shill, fuck all that shit, nigga. This was a bad video. The criticism was terrible. Nigga didn't understand what the theme of Nefer's quest was that directly tied it to the main story plot, or even to Rerir, or even to Thelindis, or the Visionary, of the core theme of knowing too much has a price tag on it. Like, come on. We spent Act 3 learning so much about that. And so when Act 4 uses it again for Nefer's story quest to learn a little bit more about Nefer and why she moves the way she moves, it's like, how are we not putting the pieces together?
But she was introduced to us as a businesswoman who likes to be her own boss.
Yeah, and is that not what she does in her story quest? She does start moving to be her own boss. She even starts paving the way for that when she takes that valuable flower that she could have given to someone else for like sentimental reasons, but she's like, no, I'm gonna do it for me. I'm gonna keep that for me. When she gets this box and the power that comes with it, guess what? She kept it for herself because guess what? The being who gave it to her, they can't get it back. They can't force her to give it back. So guess what? She has it for her to use because it's for her. AKA, she does things for the benefit of herself. Now, for the moments when she doesn't do it, it shows a little crack in her facade, showing that she got a little sentimental value in her, a little heart in her that's covered up by all this whole do it for me stuff.
Not some like anime villain who's constantly lying and manipulating everyone. And I know some people will probably get offended by this and think that I'm just hating on her, but if you know me,
your criticism is just lackluster. I don't think you're hating on her. I just think your criticism is lackluster and is completely devoid of what actually happened in the quest. And you just made the video to make jokes about XYZ, about, oh man, look at her being a Discord mod criticism. It's like, okay, cool, bro. Can we actually focus on the actual criticism here? To me, your criticism is just lackluster.
You would know that I really enjoy strong and evil women in gacha games. Perfect examples are Yelan and Arlecchino. Arlecchino is my second favorite character after Capitano because she's strong, intimidating, and she's tough.
Fear not.
Her intimidation comes from how everything she was betrayed before her Archon quest. Right? Her interactions with Farina were very intimidating, not towards us, the audience, but towards Farina as a character, because we knew Farina was small, weak, and shy, and she couldn't really be bold in front of Arlecchino because, other reasons and aspects that we learned about later. Nefer, everything we learned about Nefer, all her intimidating moments truly come from her interactions with Yehoda, right? Because Yehoda is her her employee that follows her orders, right? And we've seen those moments. Right? So, no, they didn't fail in showing her being intimidating. She's just not intimidating as a character to the player. But, well, let me rephrase. She's intimidating. She does check the box for being intimidating. It's just that she's not a villain. She's not an antagonist. She is a... is anti-hero the right word I want to... Yeah, I think anti-hero is a little bit of the right word I'm looking for. Hold up. Man, I gotta pull up a chart of the whole good, evil, neutral shit. I think can I say lawfully neutral? I feel like she may land on there. Because she's not lawfully evil. That's for damn sure. She's not someone who has a bit of honor to themselves while being villainous, no. If anything, I think she's neutral in the sense of her wanting to ensure that everything for herself is good. And she follows her policies. But also she's got a little bit of lawfulness in her to be a helping hand to help save her nation and even some of her friends, and of course her own personal little sanctuary she has from a threat that could put it into it all. I don't know if lawfully good is the right word. Someone can help me with that. Anyway.
Not. What's a little thunder when even lightning wouldn't dare strike our path?
And the exact same thing pretty much goes for Yelan, although I don't like her nearly as much as Arlecchino. Anyway, the point is, Nefer just feels like a cheap copy of Yelan. And I get that Nefer is supposed to be cool and all, but it gets to a point, bro.
Well, when you have characters having similar backgrounds in terms of what they do as a job, of course they're going to feel similar to each other.
No need for her to be doing all this. It feels incredibly unnatural and very forced. Now,
I'm going to say this right now. No, it doesn't. It's actually pretty straightforward for us to understand why she is what she is. This wasn't forced.
Before we finish the video, make sure to join my Discord to not miss out on any new Genshin leaks. My next video is probably going to be about Rerir, and this one is going to be a bit more serious because I absolutely love him and his quest was absolutely...
So you're going to put forth effort and more serious effort towards a character you like, but you're not going to put forth that same type of energy for a character you dislike? I don't know about that one, Chief. I think you should stick to leaks if that's how you're going to make your videos. Because if you're doing your videos like that, that tells me you're not going to be 100% truthful in your criticisms towards the things you dislike. That's just how I view that personally.
Absolutely great. So we're going to dive into his psychology. It's going to be something different, but I think most of you will probably enjoy it.
Wait, so you're going to dive into psychology when it comes down to Rerir, but you couldn't put that forth that same effort into Nefer's old story quest for why she feels the way that she feels and why she views her father the way that she does? Are you fucking serious? This is crazy. Oh my God. Talk about not putting your foot in it. No effort at all. This is how I know this video was bullshit. This is how I knew it was. Oh my, you just admitted that you didn't put no effort into this video. Oh my God, twin. You should have not have said nothing. You should have kept this up. Also, what happened to the point of this video where he was supposed to explain what they could have done to make it more fun? Like, did he ever mention that? Because I felt like we went through all these sections. It was like right here in this section where he was going to mention what they could have done to make this better. But he never states it at all what they could have done to make this better. He just yammers on about why it was bad, why it was corny. Like, bro, where is this section in this video that's supposed to be telling me what they could have done to make it better? Like, what are we talking about? Even I have the decency to do that with my own videos. I mean, okay, what they could have done to make this better. Or let me provide some nuance to this, right? If you want to see that, go check out my Yap being topics videos. They're on my channel. There's a playlist of them. I think there's about 10 or 11 videos. Go check them out if you want to. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna say that now. This video, this is an L video. This is a bad video. He completely misses the core theme that ties Nefer's story quest to the main plot. He completely, I would even argue, misunderstand her character for why the way she was acting the way that she was in the past, mind you, not in the current day, in the past. He doesn't mention the conversation that Nefer has with the Traveler at the end of the Archon quest, nor does he mention the interaction between Dory and Nefer as well, which also ties to Nefer's character. It's like, oh my gosh. Oh my God. This has got to be one of the worst videos I've ever watched. Oh my God. I'm going to say this again. Bro, I think you should just stick to making leaked videos, leaked information about what character coming next, what their kid is, and stuff like that. I think you should stick to that. Because if this is how you're going to do your videos tackling on characters and their writing, I don't want to see a future video from it. I don't want to watch the Rerir video. I really don't. Because I'm afraid you're going to put... Well, he said he's going to put more effort into that video compared to this one, which I believe he would. But I'm afraid there's going to be some misunderstanding of his character happening in that video. Who knows? Maybe he'll prove me wrong. But anyway, yeah. This was bad. This is a bad video. This is terrible. Now, if he takes offense to that, that's him. I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's you, twin. But, again, this video was bad. completely misses the point entirely of her character and why her character ties to the main story quest. Not her past, but the theme. The theme of Nefer story quest ties to it. Or rather, not the theme of Nefer's story quest, but the theme they've been using since Act 3 to 4. That's the theme, which is knowing too much has a price. And betably, prices were paid. Anyway, that's enough. That's all I got to say. This is KallaTheYapper signing out. Like, sub, turn on the notification bell. I'm going to link the original video in the description so you can go watch this video for yourself and listen to how insane it is and how it sounds. Yeah. Also, I'm going to do some more reactions, of course, because right now I'm getting some reactions done. So, yeah. See y'all in the next video. Peace later. Go check out my yapping topics videos. Go check out my reaction content as well. Turn on the notification bell so whenever I stream, you'll see it when I stream. Join my YouTube community Discord. It's quiet most of the time. Not really much people talking a lot, which is fine. But come join anyway if you wish to. Anyway, so that if your YouTube notification isn't working, telling you that, hey, yo, I'm streaming, guess what? My YouTube Discord server will. Anyway, see you later. Peace. Bye. This is KallaTheYapper signing out. Oh, man, this video was so bad.